as far as the Knicks are concerned. Kendrick Perkins was on Alan Hahn's radio show earlier this week. He put all the pressure in New York on one man.
I think Tom Thibodeau is under the most pressure probably of any coach in the NBA. And the way that we're witnessing right now, coaches are losing their jobs. The back and forth that he had with Mikal Bridges, too many minutes, things to that nature. And I love Tibbs. He's my Mbutu brother for life, won a championship with him, but I got to call it like I see it. Tom Thibodeau at least have, at bare minimum, force a 7-game series against the Boston Celtics in order to keep his job.
And they've got to beat Detroit before they even can start worrying about the Boston Celtics. We're going to keep Schrager in this conversation because he's a crazy Knicks fan. But for those of you who don't know, around the country, Alan works with the Knicks as well all season long. You cover that team literally day in and day out. Do you agree that Tom Thibodeau's job hangs in the balance of this postseason?
First of all, shout out to Don Hahn and Rosenberg on 880 at ESPN New York for that. But I don't think this season that's where it rides. I do think that there is going to be more and more pressure. I think Perk is right when it comes to no coach has more pressure on him right now. But I don't think it's something that if there is this unexpected failure in the first round that there'll be a change in the offseason. It does not mean, though, that they go into next season with the sword of Damocles hanging over Tom Thibodeau. That could be a real thing.
Windman, what do you think?
No, I don't agree with Perk here. I love Perk, but I don't agree with him. Tom Thibodeau signed a very lucrative contract extension before the season. Not that money is a driving factor for the Knicks. They won 51 games this year. They won 50 last year, despite having some injury issues and despite not having depth at the center position. Could Tom Thibodeau do better developing his bench? Absolutely. Are they competitive with the Celtics and the Cavs, at least in the regular season? Absolutely not. But I think the Knicks' play here is more of a long-term play. I know this is not what a New Yorker wants to hear, but the Knicks' play when they signed all these guys was over a 3-year plan to outlast the very expensive second-apron Boston Celtics. Evaluate him over that multiple years, not just this year. The Knicks had a very strong season. If they beat the Pistons, they will have had a good playoff. That's where it's going to be. It doesn't mean you're under the world if you're not winning the title.
Voice of the Knicks fan, if the Knicks don't make the Celtics sweat in round 2, how will you feel?
Why'd we get rid of Dante DiVincenzo? Why didn't we sign Hartenstein? What was the point of all these deals for Bridges and for Towns? I don't blame Tibbs. I know Knicks fans are split. He plays these guys too many minutes during the regular season, so they have nothing left in the playoffs. But when you lose Julius Randle 2 years ago for the playoffs and Brunson last year, I don't think that's fair on Tibbs. But I look at Cat, I look at Bridges. Are we better this year than we were a year ago? And if so, it didn't show up in the regular season against the Cavs and the Celtics. I'm not overlooking Pistons, by the way. And Alan, to me, Detroit scares me. They played last week. Starters were in there, and the Pistons beat up on the Knicks. They are a tough team, and they are not to be overlooked.
I will leave this thought here. Tom Thibodeau is not a good coach. He's a great coach. And the reason that people have the wrong perception of Tom Thibodeau is that he actually treats the regular season like it matters. So, and when the postseason begins, his teams don't have another level to go to. They are already maxing out what they are capable of doing, whereas a lot of other teams are just sort of waiting until what they perceive to be important. So when people say they think Tibbs underachieves in the playoffs, that's actually not accurate. He overachieves in the regular season. He makes teams better in the regular season, and then people are saying, well, why is it they were so good in the regular season? Because all these other teams are waiting to step it up to another level. Tom Thibodeau's biggest strength is perceived as his biggest weakness.
He cares more than a fan. I'll tell you that. He lives and breathes the job. This matters to him more than you can imagine. And he is somebody that understands everything that comes with this. And this is a team, by the way, that was playing great offensive basketball for half the season. They have not played their best yet. And don't sleep on playoff Brunson.
Yeah, Tibbs sat in here when he was between jobs recently. Coach, if they fire you, ridiculous. I got your omelet waiting for you every single morning in the 6 o'clock meeting. We'll make it as much fun as we possibly can. In the Bay Area, the game of the night, the 7-8 game in the West. Steph and the Warriors and Ja and the Grizzlies, and the action was sensational. In the first half, Alan Hahn belonged to Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy, playoff Jimmy or play-in Jimmy, whatever it is, he's always up for those elimination games.
He had 21 points in the first half, and the Warriors would open up the huge lead. Now, I want you to watch Steph Curry. You wonder why this guy is one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. Look how hard he works for one bucket in the first half of this game. Just moving. He's moving. He's going to give it up. He's going to get it back. He's going to make a shot that only he can make, plus the foul. He traveled 143 feet. He had 15 points in the first half, Golden State by 20. But look at Ja Morant.
Off the glass to himself. When you don't have a play, you assist yourself. But even more, watch him go around Jimmy Butler for that. Spectacular.
Morant had 15 in the first half. It's a 12-point game at the break, so Memphis is in there. Now we're in the third quarter. I want you to watch Morant closely. It's a tough bucket, but watch the right ankle in particular as he comes down on it here.
Yeah, this is what we see a lot with Ja. He used a lot of athleticism, and so he'll get injured at times. And that was not a good sight at that moment for Memphis as he leaves the game, but, pop a couple of Advil, get back in the game.
Yeah, he made the foul shot that he left for a while, that he did come back. It's a 3-point game going to the fourth quarter. Morant is still hobbling, but he's also still fighting. 9 minutes to go. 2-point game. Oh, we're tied. Morant would score 22, and we're even at 98. 6 minutes and change in the fourth quarter. Steph Curry, clearly in pain, but not a problem. He went nuts when it mattered most.
Just relocates better than anyone, finds his spots, and gets off his shot faster than anyone you can imagine. It's so hard to guard.
How much did you say he traveled on the floor last night?
This was it was 2.96 miles was his distance traveled in this entire game, which is the most he has had this season. And there's how about a triple pump for that three. 6
threes, and then it all comes down to this. Golden State by 3, 5 seconds left. Memphis needs to get it in, and 5 seconds is the operative word.
Go get the ball, Ja.
He didn't get it in time. Unbelievably, the Grizzlies at the worst possible time have the worst possible mistake. The turnover ends it. 38 for Butler, 37 for Curry. Golden State wins.
I think any team has a chance when I'm on a team, but I know that every team has a chance if Steph's on the team. So I get to play Robin. That's my Batman, and I don't know who else is. We got all the villains over there, Two-Face and Joker and Riddler, everybody else in the Western Conference. But we got a lot of games to win.
Oh, now we're talking. If we're doing Batman-Robin analogies, I am 100% here for it. Brian Windhorst up with us early this morning. Windman, Butler and Curry were spectacular last night. What is your biggest takeaway from a Golden State team that now moves into the playoffs and looks pretty dangerous doing it?
Well, in the walk-off interview, he said he was a hellified Batman. He cleaned it up a little bit for the podium. This is what the Warriors were dreaming of when they made this Jimmy Butler trade back in February. This 1-2 punch, whatever you want to call it, Batman, Robin, Thunder and Lightning. Jimmy was attacking the basket, getting inside. Guys, he had 18 free throws in this game. The ability in a game like this where Steph Curry has got to run so much and use so much energy to be able to rest a little bit during the game with Jimmy Butler out there to lead the offense, and even during the game when he can slow the game down and get to the foul line, is immeasurably important. And this is what they're going to go with going forward. They're going to need these two guys to put up major offensive numbers like this because their offense isn't necessarily as balanced. But I want to talk about something that Steph Curry did in the fourth quarter of this game. I know he hit these big threes, and that's what everybody's going to remember. Watch him right here on the inbounds. They're double teaming him, okay? Look at this cut. That's a beautiful play. He gets this and now gets 2 free throws. Don't overlook that moment. Now again, watch this. Now they're top blocking him. Then he goes long, gets again 2 free throws. 2 important plays. Then defensively, on an inbounds play, watch him here. Santi Aldama, who's trying to inbound the ball, is 7 foot. Steph Curry is 6'3" on a good day. They can't get the ball into Ja Morant because Curry is blocking it. Those plays illustrate what his extraordinary value is. Obviously, the man can shoot, but his conditioning is absolutely elite. That he had the energy and the ability to make those plays was the difference between this game probably going to overtime or not, because of the difference is in those little things. Can Steph Curry do that over the course of an entire playoff run? I don't know, but having Jimmy Butler makes it more possible.
You know, it is. We've talked so much about what the addition of Luka Doncic might mean for LeBron James, and rightfully so. That's one of the most impactful trades because of the age of the player involved that I can ever remember in the sport. The truth is, we have exactly the same scenario here with Steph Curry. He is as historically significant a player as anybody. And with Jimmy Butler, they all of a sudden go into a series now. Cindy, let's put up a 12. I mean, they're the favorites to win this next round. I know they're the 7 and Houston is the 2. But look at this. It's only the second time in 30 years that a 7 seed is favored to win. It doesn't mean they're going to, but they absolutely have a shot against a very good, dynamic, but very young Rockets team. Now, all of a sudden, you go on, maybe you get the Lakers in the next round.
Oh, boy.
Special things could happen for Steph Curry in these next few months.
And it's the experience factor. It's the confidence that comes from demonstrated performance. And who has demonstrated the performance better than Steph Curry over in this era right now of the NBA? So when you consider what they have and what they have to build on, and what Windy's saying, don't just like dismiss that of, oh yeah, he just played hard at the end of the game. That's a huge factor here. It's when a superstar like him, who about 4 months ago might have thought my chance to win a championship, probably the window's probably closed. Even last offseason, there was talk about whether or not it's time to move on. We've had conversations about whether or not Steph Curry should stay there. But now all of a sudden he's rejuvenated with the idea that, hey, we can kind of do this. We've got a squad. We can play. You see him raise his game up a level to where he's doing things not only in the offensive floor, not only at that end of the basket where he can run around and you can't catch him, but you now all of a sudden you want to do like duos. How about shake and bake? How about Talladega Nights? Right? Now, you've got two guys that look at each other and realize that they can combine. And you've got Steph Curry who can shake every defense, and Jimmy Butler who can bake every defense. You've got guys that have experience of winning in the playoffs and look around the room and realize we got a chance. We can do this.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,